All right, so today we have Treslyn Shipley, and she is an artist in Fort Worth and has done a variety of kinds of pieces from canvases like we might see right here on the screen, and murals, and probably a whole variety of other things. I have some of her work on my walls at home, and anyways, Treslyn, I'll let you, tell us about the piece and about maybe anything else about you.
Oh boy, okay. So the piece that we see here is a pretty good representation of the portraits that I like to do normally. And so I like to use really bright colors and really fun expressions whenever I paint people. And so this is my friend Zella. She is a really fun person. She has a lot of personality and energy. She's really kind. She can be really silly. And so I wanted to paint her in a way that showed off who she was. Because I know her as a friend, I know the different sides of who she is. And so I thought that normally I do only one face whenever I paint a portrait on a canvas, but I thought for Zella it'd be really fun to do two faces and kind of show different sides of who she is. And with the expressions, I like to use really bright colors. I think that color palette is a really fun, energetic color palette to work with. And so for Zella, I used a lot of golds and yellows and oranges and purples, and I thought that those colors would bring out her personality even more.
Yeah, it's beautiful color palette, and I like how some of these purples lean into being even something like red here and there.
Yeah,
yeah, on the edges. And the double portrait, yeah, I'm really enjoying that. And I think about their connection, like you did some charcoals back in the day, a while, several years ago.
We did.
That had, sort of the double portrait thing going on.
Yeah, and so the double portraits that I did that you're talking of were of people that I know really well. And I find that the better I know the people, the harder it is to choose just one picture or one expression to describe who they are. And so ideally, I would love to paint Zella 6 or 7 times, to really kind of have a scope of communicating who she is. And then I just think it's really fun to look at. It's an exciting canvas. It's a fun painting. And, why are there 2 faces? That's kind of a mystery. That's kind of odd. And I think that's fun to be silly with.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see here. You made a video for us of you painting the piece, and so we'll pull that up and just take a look, and we can talk about what you're doing here.
Okay. All right. So at this very beginning, I wanted to include how I start the painting, and I like to trace the portrait with tracing paper from a piece of paper. And then I cover the back of that paper with charcoal. And then when I tape it onto the canvas, I'm able to trace on top of what I've drawn, and it transfers that image. And so you can see that I already have a guide. I didn't have to do any tracing with, or any drawing with a pencil. I had it all ready to go. And so I was able to jump straight in with the color. And I'm working back and forth with the 2 portraits. Because I think it's fun to do them in sections. And so I like to do the foreheads first and then the eyes, because that top half of the face really sets the tone for the rest of the painting. And just painting lots of detail already. This is a sped up video, obviously. I think the painting took me about 3.5 hours total, start to finish. And this video is obviously not 3.5 hours long.
Did you paint it all at once, or did you
I did.
Yeah, wow.
So, whenever I paint these really bright portraits, I like to try to do them all at once. I get in a rhythm of doing it, and I I find it hard to start and stop over the span of a few days. And so I
Yeah.
try to block off the time and really conquer it all in one sitting.
Yeah, it's like a marathon of painting.
A little bit, yeah. I listen to a book and I just get in the zone.
And it is a little bit physically demanding. I mean, you do have to, like your arms get tired and
Yeah,
yeah, your body
absolutely.
gets tired. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So you, with these, you are working, with the faces first and building up, the shapes and the forms we
Hmm.
see on the face, and
Hmm.
then you're refining that, uh, and then details of the eyes
Hmm.
and that sort of thing, and then later working in the background. And I guess
Yeah.
is there any particular reason why you kind of work in that order?
So there is. Sometimes when I start a portrait, I'm not sure what color background I want to do. And so by painting the face and completing the hair and even the shirt sometimes kind of guides what color would best fit into the portrait or best further explain, who that person is. Going into this painting, I knew actually that I wanted to do a purple background for Zella because it was her favorite color. Um, but because I've done it this way so much, where I start with the face and then do the background, that was why I did it here. And I find that it's a lot easier to do detail like the eyes and the nose and the mouth whenever I'm able to kind of rest my hand on the canvas and not worry about smudging that
Yeah,
background
yeah,
and getting it all over my hand.
that makes sense. Yeah,
So
that
it's
makes sense.
more logistics. It just
Yeah,
happens to work better for me to do the
yeah,
painting or the background last.
yeah. And does your mind kind of just wander while, what do you think about while you're making these pieces?
I try to distract myself just enough with some sort of book or podcast so that
Mhm,
I'm not
mhm.
thinking about it too much, because I like to keep my brush strokes and my color choices really instinctive. And so I'm using a pretty big brush for these forehead strokes, like you can see.
Yeah,
Um,
thinking about these
and if
brush
I think
strokes.
about it too much, it becomes too refined. I get to
Uh-huh.
where I'm smudging the colors around too much. Um, and so I'm trying to find this balance of not thinking about it, but thinking about it just enough to where I'm keeping myself from not overworking the painting at all.
Yeah, yeah. There is that like moment where you really kind of know it's finished, and
Hmm.
you shouldn't touch it anymore, and
Yep,
then
yep.
and then
But it's so tempting to keep going
yeah, yeah, because it's fun.
because
It's
it's
a
fun.
lot of fun to paint. That's right. So uh,
Hmm.
yeah. So all right. I don't know. Anything else you want to tell us about your work, about what you do?
Um, yeah, so I've been an artist my whole life, but then I graduated college in 2016 and have been working as an artist since then. I paint a lot of commissions for families as well as businesses, which means that they hire me to paint a specific painting, and then I paint the painting and then give it to them. And it's a lot of people. I paint a lot of portraits, but then I also paint a lot of more detailed paintings where it's like a picture that I'm copying or making into a painting. And then I've done some really random projects too. I've done some murals and some kind of graphic design work. It just kind of depends on what the client is wanting. Um, and I'm not sure if I'll continue to do that for the rest of my life, but it's been a really fun few years of uh, being what is called a commission-based artist.
Yeah, and I think that's certainly, I know, challenging and commendable to really take that on, because it takes a lot of bravery and faith, I think.
Yeah, I would say
those
that
are all,
too.
those are all
And
good things. Yeah.
hmm
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and for
You're
sharing
welcome.
about your work. And we hope that uh, Miss Amy Taylor's students really enjoy this video. So,
Yeah.
all right. Thanks.